Hello, my name is Pam Rogerson-Revell. I'm a Professor of Applied Linguistics in the School of Education at the University of Leicester. Today I'm here to talk to two of my colleagues about our research group, the Lesson Study Research Group. First of all, we have Dr. Julie Norton, who's chair of the research group, and next to her we have Professor Wasyl Cajkler, who is also a member of the group and an expert on lesson study. They both are experts on lesson study. So, first of all, if I could ask you both, how long you've been working in the field of lesson study?
Well, we've been working in lesson study since about 2011. We've been involved in a variety of projects, both in the UK and internationally in countries such as Turkey, China, and working in Spain as well in European contexts with our colleagues.
It all began in a car park, a conversation with Professor David Pedder, who I think we should mention, and he was the catalyst of us starting the work in 2011. And since then, with a few breaks for COVID, unfortunately, it's been a significant part of the research activity in the School of Education.
And I believe the University of Leicester is the leading university in this area in the country, is that correct?
Well, it's one of those. I mean, certainly in initial teacher education, we've probably done more projects in initial teacher education, sometimes with mentors and student teachers working together to develop research lessons and evaluate them. That's been particularly useful, and some former trainees have still write to us about the impact of that on them. And we've also had projects with school-based initial teacher education, the local SKIP programme, for example. The first module of that was devoted to lesson study. And one colleague also, in fact several colleagues have done peer micro-teaching lesson study in their programmes, particularly during the COVID period where school practice was not possible.
Of course.
So we were able to use peer micro-teaching lesson study in the School of Education to mitigate the effects of the limitations that COVID presented to us.
And I know you both worked internationally on research projects in this field as well. Julie, can you say a little bit about that?
Yes, we worked with a university in Turkey, for example, and some of the benefits teachers told us about for them and their learners were they really enjoyed collaborating together to develop lessons. They learnt a lot from each other. They gained confidence through the process, made friendships. It took them away, they said, from the pedagogic solitude of their own classrooms, being able to work with their colleagues. And they gained confidence and were able to take greater risks through that process. So I think that was really encouraging for them.
Yeah. I should mention as well that the international cooperation we've had with Stavanger, and we actually wrote a book as well, and 14 of us. Quite a nightmare coordinating 14 writers, but we published that in 2020, which is devoted to lesson study in initial teacher education, which I think has been the principal focus of our work here. But we have worked with serving teachers as well, and we have a number of publications in that area, which Julie and I were involved in 2013 and 14, I think. We did lots of observations in schools. I think it's fair to say we've learned more than what we've taught in this process. We're very grateful to all the people who've worked with us over the years. Yeah.
Excellent. I mean, you've already given some examples of how it can be beneficial for teachers. Can you say a bit more about the benefits of lesson study, and including for the learner?
I think with initial teacher education, some of our teachers have told us it helps induct them into the community of practice more efficiently, if you like. They get to grips with the terminology to talk about teaching and learning more quickly through participating in lesson study groups with more experienced colleagues.
Yeah, you make me recall there, Julie, one of our former trainees who, she went for a job interview. She was told in the feedback that what made her stand out from the other candidates was her awareness of the learner. And I think when you're observing in the classroom, it's very easy to think you can see a lot. Actually, you can see very little. And a number of projects, and in fact you worked with us, Pam, in one of the projects with teachers in the university teaching refugees, where they acknowledged that they realised that what they saw in the classroom, or believed they saw, was actually very limited. And when they did lesson study, they were really quite taken aback by what they could see that they hadn't seen before.
Yes, it was an eye-opener.
There was new realisation,
Yeah.
really eye-opening.
It was.
I think eye-opening
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
and I think that's the principal benefit I would see, is that it is eye-opening. It gives you an opportunity and a clearer window on which to look at what's happening in the classroom. Observations from the back of the room, for example, which arrive at judgments about teachers, are extremely limited and very often quite damaging.
Indeed.
This is a much more formative process than straightforward observation, traditional observation.
And finally, perhaps if you could just mention any challenges that you've come across in using lesson study.
Yeah, I think we recognise it does demand resource. Teachers need time to plan lessons, to teach the lessons and evaluate the lessons. So they need the support of the school leadership where they're working to be able to engage in those kinds of activities.
Yeah, it is flexible though, and I think you've just got to do it and give it a go. And yes, there are challenges, and you do need the support of the leadership of your institution. But with that, the key thing is to get involved, try it out, and see what happens. It's another way of looking at the classroom.